Welkom bij Dipsaus, het programma door vrouwen van kleur voor vrouwen van kleur en iedereen die geïnteresseerd is in een ander geluid. En deze podcast is opgenomen op zaterdag 28 januari 2017. Hoi lieve luisteraars, Mariam hier en deze week hebben we een speciale aflevering voor jullie omdat we onze eerste internationale gast hebben geïnterviewd. En dat is niemand minder dan de Ghanese-Amerikaanse schrijfster Yaa Gyasi, die debuteert met het boek Weg naar huis, vertaald van het Engels naar het Nederlands door de bezige bij. Het boek begint met twee halfzussen uit Ghana in de 18e eeuw en gaat elke hoofdstuk een generatie verder in de tijd. Prachtige, maar ook vaak hartverscheurende verhalen over slavernij in Ghana, de Amerikaanse burgeroorlog tot aan de Manhattan in de 20e eeuw. Ja, Ebise en ik mochten haar spreken en naast het boek hebben we het ook gehad over de verschillen binnen de Afrikaanse diaspora, de lieve mannelijke personages in haar boek en of ze al bij iemand achterop de fiets is geweest tijdens haar verblijf in Nederland. Heel veel plezier. Enjoy, enjoy! We have 28 hours of recording, so sit tight. We have plenty of water. Okay, let's see. This is just for me because we did some. How do you say it in English? That you voorwerk.
Voorbereiding.
Preparation.
Okay.
Oh, forgive us, please, if we don't come up with the word. We have to dig sometimes.
Okay. It's better than I could do in Dutch, so.
So is it actually your first time in the Netherlands?
Yeah, it is.
Really?
Yeah, it's my first time.
Okay.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's so nice. I haven't had much time to kind of explore anything yet, so I've just kind of walked around the area, but
the canals.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
It's very nice.
And how long will you be staying for a while, or?
I'm leaving tomorrow. I'm going to Stockholm.
What time are you leaving?
In the afternoon, so okay. I think me and Nanda are gonna do some stuff.
Oh, that's really nice. Yeah,
so
that's nice.
So you get a chance to see our little Amsterdam.
Yeah.
Oh, I have to go. Okay,
A little bit. Yeah.
a little bit. All right, so welcome to Dipsaus.
Thank
First
you.
of all, thank you so much for taking the time and talking to us.
Sure.
Not only just our first literary interview, but also our first international guest.
Oh, nice.
Our first American guest.
Uh-huh.
Our first of Ghanaian descent guest.
Yeah, it is true.
It is really true.
Yeah.
First of everything, yeah.
Uh-huh.
And we're super excited, and we hope in the future we get to do this so much more often.
Great.
So our first question actually was about the how is it to be the hottest literary lady in the scene right now?
Yeah, oh, man, I don't know. It's very strange. It's really kind of beyond what I ever thought would happen for this book. You know, I think like a lot of first-time novelists, you have this idea in your head and you work on it quietly by yourself, and it's very easy to imagine that no one will ever read it. And so to have it out in the world is first wonderful, and then to have it doing so well, I think is really kind of beyond my wildest dreams.
Because did you always expect to be a writer, or?
Yeah, I always wanted to be a writer. I knew very young that I wanted to be a writer. And so this is really the fulfillment of a lifelong dream for me.
Oh, that's so nice.
Did you? But I mean, with this kind of attention, there's a lot of pressure and expectation as well. Or how do you experience that? Is it?
I try not to think about it. I mean, I'm not really. I'm at this weird stage in my career where I'm just touring so much that I'm not really writing at all because I'm so busy. I assume that that's kind of when you start to feel it, is when you sit down to try to write, because before your first book, you kind of have the advantage, I suppose, of believing that that perhaps you don't have an audience. And now to know that people will probably pick up the next thing I read does kind of add an element of, of pressure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what are your things that you do to just kind of
let your hair down?
Let your hair down.
Hair down?
Even
gravity-defying hair down.
I mean, I still love to read. I read for pleasure mostly. So that, and then I also watch way too much TV.
Lovely. What are you watching?
What am I watching now? I started The Crown with my boyfriend, but we weren't that into it, so stopped.
Yeah.
But I love watching on Netflix. I mean, I'll watch anything really. I got really into Parenthood. I don't know.
Yeah.
No, I don't know it.
No, I haven't seen it. I'm currently, my current obsession is The Americans.
Oh, I haven't seen that, but people have said, people are really into that one.
Yeah. It was a friend of mine. She's film. She's academic media and film studies, and she said you have to watch it. And I just got sucked into it, and I can't.
Okay.
It's like every time I need to watch one more, but then I went on vacation and there was no internet there, so I had to like detox from
Well, that's probably healthy a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There's a new episode of Scandal. The new season started.
Oh, wow.
Oh, I'm so happy to be back in Shondaland.
I watched Scandal for a while, and then it just got to be too much for me. I love Shonda. I loved Grey's Anatomy. I can't believe that it's still going.
I love it.
I love it.
It's crazy.
still is.
Yeah, it's still on.
Yeah.
It's like
10th season or something?
Yeah.
I think
it must be.
12.
Yeah.
12.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild. What a career she's had.
Yeah.
I mean, to have Scandal and Grey's Anatomy and How to Get Away with Murder.
I never watched How to Get Away with Murder.
I
like
did.
it.
I like that. I like that.
I like it. It's really good.
I prefer it over Scandal.
Yeah, really.
They're just so dramatic all the time.
Yeah, it's
Scandal.
Scandal's a little too much for me.
I love drama.
No, but for that, I watch Empire.
Oh, yeah, Empire is
okay.
really good.
Yeah.
I do.
I watch
enjoy.
Cookie.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I've kind of got tired of Empire.
Yeah, I did too. But I feel like I'm very fickle. Like I only watch things for like a season or two, and then
Well, I stay loyal though,
you
because I have
do.
the feeling we know
I
each
don't.
other, me and Cookie, and but then
Yeah.
I still watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways.
Okay.
Okay, moving on. So, we were kind of researching, looking up your reviews and that kind of stuff, and you're introduced in very different ways. We saw it sometimes as a Ghanaian writer, sometimes as a Ghanaian American writer, and I loved it when you said, I think it was a Guardian interview where you said that your identity is much more layered and dualistic in that. And to me, that I recognize it being kind of I'm from 1990, or you just turned 27, I think.
27. Yes.
I'm almost. You need to tell me what it's like to be 27. I have 3 weeks left. I
have forgotten what it's like to be 27.
But they still need to see your ID.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they still ask her for ID. I tell everyone.
I believe it.
So, and me being Dutch Moroccan, having to fill out that identity or create that identity myself. But in the Netherlands, the book is really marketed as an African novel. What are your thoughts about that?
I mean, it is a marketing thing, right? It kind of just depends on what people think will their audience will respond to most. So it doesn't really have anything to do with me or how I identify or what I think. Even within America, in some places I'm on the African literature shelf, in some places I'm on the African American literature shelf. I think it's all just marketing.
Yeah.
And so I mean, for me, it's interesting to kind of feel as though I'm straddling both of those two spaces. In a perfect world, that the shelves would not be named anything at all.
Exactly.
It'd just be this is literature. But the world
Here are
is
books.
not,
Here are novels.
The world is not perfect in that way.
No. It's still. I think I was in London in a bookstore and I was looking up a book about I don't know I think it was about Morocco or anything, and then I really had to look. I was like so naive looking in Africa, like really looking, where is it? And then I had to end up like all across the Middle East, and I was when?
Yeah.
I was like, but that's why I was thinking of that moment when as the kind of the Dutch version, the translation. Congratulations on that, by the way.
Thank you.
That we thought it was really marketed.
Yeah.
We were kind of, because of your background as a publisher, we were thinking, look, this is really marketing. How much do you have say as a writer?
Yeah.
Not much.
Not much.
Not much?
Not any,
Not much.
really.
No.
But is that, does that annoy you, or are you like, as long as people find my book?
Yeah, I think as long as people are reading it, I think once you read the book, you understand that it's not choosing, it's not choosing African over African American over any one identity over another. And so I think as long as whatever gets you to the book,
whatever shelf gets you to the book, European,
that's fine by me.
okay.
Yeah.
So in your book, the country, like Ghana, is kind of referred to as the Gold Coast, and I think we were talking
with the characters themselves. In the Ghanaian characters themselves, they refer to Ghana as the Gold Coast, and I was wondering whether, I'm not sure, because I'm not sure, I wasn't certain whether Ghanaians themselves referred to the Fanti and Ashanti referred to that area as the Gold Coast, or was it something that the British named it?
Yeah, the name actually comes from the Portuguese. No, I'm wrong. Cape Coast comes from the Portuguese. I don't know what the Gold Coast came from. I think it came from the British.
Okay.
But yes, I highly doubt that they would have been referring to it in that way on their own. I think they probably would have been referring to their own particular nations, like within their ethnic groups.
Yeah.
So that's kind of an imposition of the colonial powers to collectively call all of these people Gold Coast people.
Yeah, but also that some of the characters also refer to it as the Gold Coast.
Yeah.
So I was wondering why you chose
I think it was whenever a character was kind of had some relationship to the British or to the colonial power. Yeah. So somebody like Effia or somebody like Quay, who was kind of accustomed to thinking about the slave trade and also kind of the larger.
Yeah, because he also studied in.
Right, he also studied in England.
It's so nice that she said Effia and Quay. Or am I the only one who's like, yes, the writer actually said their names. So I was actually kind of curious about this whole different. I've never been to the United States, I like to say that I've studied them through literature and podcasts, and that I kind of
Netflix,
that I kind of know what it's like to be like a child of an immigrant in America, just because it's so far away from the continent of Africa. Like I had the luxury that we would drive 3 days and I would be in Morocco and I could spend there 6 weeks.
Oh, wow.
Because it was just proximity. It was just close. Yeah. So when I talk to friends who are, in Los Angeles, they don't get to travel that much. So we have a very different relationship, but we talked about that a lot. And is it the same for you? Was it very different, or?
Yeah, I mean, we almost never went to Ghana. I mean, we went as a whole family the summer after 6th grade, so I was probably 11. And that was the first time that we had ever gone back as a family. And part of that was kind of, working out our immigration status so that we could travel. And then part of that was money, of course.
It's so far away.
It's so far away, and it cost a great deal of money to buy plane tickets for a family of 5, to travel to Ghana. And so it just was an impossibility for my family for a very long time. Which I think is something now that I regret, because I wish I did have a greater connection to Ghana and to the people and to my heritage and my family. I met my grandparents for the first time that trip when I was 11, and that's it's a shame in a lot of ways.
Displacement.
It's with me. I came to the Netherlands when I was 14, so I was Ethiopian before I came to this country. But because I came with both my parents, we never had to do the whole going back to visit my parents thing. So I stayed away from Ethiopia for a long time. Yeah. Because my immediate family was here, and my parents' extended brothers and sisters, most of them live in the States even. So there was no reason to go back and forth a lot. So for me also, I kind of feel like I'm completely... verwijderd. What is verwijderd?
Removed.
Far removed from Ethiopia. Not just I was old enough to remember a lot of things. So going back again and just getting into the flow of things was like it was really great, but also like what Marjorie said in the book. They can smell it on you that you're not. That you're an out. It doesn't matter if whatever. Even if I don't open my mouth, and they can tell that I'm not from there.
It's the
It's very annoying.
Thing. Yeah, it is.
It's very annoying.
It is
I
annoying.
think you're completely blending in.
But we went to Bahardar, one of the cities up north. There, they thought I was from Addis. I looked too cosmopolitan city girl.
Oh,
so that was fine. So I could just pretend I was from Addis,
right,
instead of from Europe.
From the Netherlands.
Yeah.
You Dutchie.
The moment I open my mouth, it has
trouble.
this weird accent that they're like, yeah.
I try really, really hard to blend in.
Yeah.
And that's sometimes I think, why? Why do I even?
Yeah.
I am who I am, and that should be enough, and that should be it.
But I do understand, because here you stick out like a sore thumb, whether you like it or not. Even if you wear the most quintessential Dutch whatever,
Yeah.
I look different. Whereas there, I know I don't look different, so I just want to be part of.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I want to be normal.
Right, yeah.
That
Belong and belong.
That need is, I think, stronger than just trying to fit in here, because there's no point anyway. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. But I could recognize that a lot as I was reading the book. Either it was that need to belong to free people, but then if that wasn't possible, just to belong anywhere and not knowing, like the trauma of not knowing where you're from, who your grandparents are, or where you, and that was it was really impressive to read in the book. And what I also loved in the book is that the men in your book are loving fathers.
Yes, yeah, that was important to me. I think you see a lot of representations of black men as not caring about their families, or somehow, kind of less than. And in the book, there certainly are men who aren't as active in their role as fathers, but oftentimes you see the reason for that. You see the ways that they've been like taken away, or otherwise kind of forced to not be as good a father as they might have liked to be. But I had a father who was very present, and it felt ridiculous to me to only represent men as being absent.
It was lovely. I think I think especially the chiefs, and you did it like with their daughters. Yeah. And I was just like I could just still remember, like in the book, that she's holding her father's like only finger, and that just gives a kind of, I don't know. It's nice. It's a nice new or different narrative.
Building up on what you just asked and what you said about your father being present yesterday at the reading at the Belmont Park Theater, you said, I'm quoting, "My people are matrilineal," and that is how I experienced life, and that is why I chose to start the story with two women at the center. But why did you? What did you mean by matrilineal? I wanted to ask that question yesterday, but then I was like, wait a minute.
I have an hour tomorrow.
So the Akan people are matrilineal, but they're still patriarchal, and so that distinction is important. And I think it comes through in the book too. I mean, Effia is the kind of the mother that starts off this chain of Ghanaians on one side, and yet she still doesn't have enough agency to be able to choose who she marries. That decision is made for her by her parents, by her father. But basically, what matrilineal means in the context of the Akan people was that if you say you had a child if you're a man, you had a child with your wife, your child, your firstborn son, would not be the person who inherits all of your land. It would actually be the son of your eldest sister.
Yes, of course.
Right.
Yeah.
And the point of that was basically you couldn't trust that your wife's child is your own, but you can trust that your sister's bloodline is your own. And so Fifi, that character, he wants to give his things away to Quay, the child of his sister, for that purpose.
And is that the reason then that you chose the stories of the women to be situated in Ghana and the men?
Well, not all of the stories of the women or of the men are in America. James and
it's true.
Quay.
Yeah, at the beginning. Yes.
Yeah, James and Quay are in Ghana in the early periods. I think later.
Ness is also American.
Ness is American.
Goodness.
Willie is American. Yes. Yeah.
I was really I love the love stories. Did you do that? Did you start to write the book with the thing with that you thought sensuality has to play a role in my book, or could you tell us more about the role of sensuality in your book?
On a kind of practical level, if you're writing a multi-generational novel, people have to make babies. So I obviously understood that sex was going to feature in the book, sensuality was going to feature in the book, and it was important to me to kind of represent those relationships, particularly Black love, I think, is something that in America is sometimes represented in a way that I find to be untrue and again, harmful, I think, to Black men. And so I did want to kind of represent wholesome love stories, a kind of appreciation
with
for
sweats.
physicality, sweats, all of that. Not just representations of love that is doomed.
Yeah. Because I was not expecting it. When I read kind of reviews and I was going to start the book, I was actually surprised. I was thinking, okay.
Yeah, because almost all of the stories there's love story featuring in each and every. And Quay and Cujo's was the unconsummated love story as well. That was really painful to read.
Yeah, it was.
I was like,
come on,
star-crossed lovers.
Yeah. But it made me a little bit. It gave me. I had the feeling that you were like giving us hope, and then sometimes you would snatch it away. I was thinking, oh yes, they're making love and they're gonna stay for no ever.
Yeah.
It was kind of that.
But the ending makes up for it. I'm not going to give away the plot, but the ending kind of makes up for it. So it was
good.
Let's see. Yeah. So that was kind of my. But then we were kind of thinking. It was kind of a personal question about about you having a Christian background.
Do you have a Christian background? I wondered.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. I was raised in the church, as they say, Pentecostal.
Yeah.
So a very kind of evangelical Christianity.
Yeah, because the reason why I wondered was because throughout the book, also the storyline in Ghana as well as in the U.S., Christianity is sprinkled throughout the book, but also there was with that layer of critique.
Yeah. I mean, I think that layer of critique was a part of my life growing up. My mother was the more religious one than my father, but my father still, came to church with us, and so I would kind of have everything that the pastor said would be tempered by my father saying something
Comments.
like, if the British had not come to Ghana, we wouldn't even be sitting here right now,
That's exactly what my father says to my mother.
Yeah,
really?
Yeah. So I think for me, that kind of, it complicated my relationship with religion and what I thought about religion. Particularly religion for Black people in America, for Africans. And I wanted to have this book have different kinds of representations of religion, and also the people in the book to have different kinds of relationships to that religion. So a character like Willie has a really kind of pure, I think, and comforting relationship to religion. And
With Joe's adoptive mom.
Right, but Joe's adoptive mom.
Completely different.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's more fraught for her. And I didn't want the book to kind of validate one side or the other. I think it's important to Willie to have the church, just as it's important to Ma'ku to not have it.
We need a break now, just like a moment so that we have to thank our sponsors.
En we willen onze sponsoren bedanken die deze aflevering mogelijk hebben gemaakt, namelijk Read My World, Stichting Literaire Activiteiten Amsterdam, De Bezige Bij en lieve Jaap Stronks voor het editen en die ons enorm uit de brand hielp. The interesting thing is, and you've probably talked many times about, is the participation of how you see the Asante and the Fanti and their slave trade. But we were wondering, like, how is it experienced in the country of Ghana? Is it something that is something like a shameful thing to talk about, something that's in the past that you're ashamed of the history, or is it something that is out in the open, or?
I mean, I wish I could say for certain, but I haven't spent enough time in Ghana, I think, to know what the people's relationship to slavery is now. I mean, my sense of it is that, at least in Cape Coast, there are these huge monuments to slavery. There's the Cape Coast Castle, there's Elmina Castle. You can't escape it. You can't escape the fact that that this happened, and yet people don't really talk about it, don't really engage with the history, and also don't really learn about the history in school. Yeah. So it's that castle is the thing that belongs to the British, belongs to the Americans, doesn't really have anything to do with you. I think people do kind of bristle when you start to talk about the role of West Africans in slavery, and I think that bristling is both a result of feelings of shame, but also feelings of worry over whether mentioning it is going to kind of become this weapon that's used against you, so that people don't have to kind of accept their own responsibility in the slave trade. They can instead say, well, Africans enslaved each other, so,
well, to me, it was very important that you wrote that, and not, I think coming from someone who has their roots, they're kind of an agency to talk about that, because it's a sensitive, because you cannot compare those two kinds of enslaving people. Yeah. Look, we have to let you go in a minute, but there are a lot of talented.
We still have time.
We still have time.
We still have time.
Oh, I have the feeling. I have the feeling like we're sitting here. Really?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So, I was thinking about. Well, this is actually your question. I'm not going to ask it. This one. It's yours.
Yes. Yeah. I was yesterday. One of the things that I observed yesterday was like you're very calm, poised, very cordial, friendly, and you have to be, I guess, like that when you're touring the world. And I just wanted to say that I'm really glad that you are, letting this happen, and that we're part of that whole tour that you're doing. It's really thank you for that.
Yeah,
I just wanted to say that.
Thank you.
Because you were very. I mean, I've been to a lot of talks. I work with authors. I know there are authors with issues. Let me put it that way. And usually they tend to bristle at certain questions, but you were really. It was really a wonderful experience yesterday. I just wanted to say that again.
Okay. Thank you.
See, I almost said it for you.
Yeah,
I wanted to that because she told me she was sending me messages on the app. She's like, "Oh my gosh, hearts." So that was nice. And the thing I wanted to talk about was. Also, there are a lot of talented, we call them second generation, so really born and raised here in the Netherlands, of Afro-European writers. And like, what kind of advice would you give them? Because maybe I don't know if I'm filling this in, or it's my imagination, or that I have the feeling that they're so being African American or being American and Black means something completely else than in Europe, and the opportunities sometimes you get. Correct me if I'm wrong. And the opportunities you get to write a book like this.
Yeah, I mean, I guess my advice is to always kind of to write the things that are meaningful to you, and write into your specificity. So to not kind of worry about what the market is doing, what will sell, what is important to the broader public. I think this book is deeply personal, and again kind of talks about kind of investigates the layers of identity, but layers of identity that are very specific to me, and the fact that it is speaking to a larger audience, including Afro-Europeans, people that I wasn't really engaged with in the novel. I think kind of speaks to the fact that it is so personal, that that it can kind of, I don't know, I think the more personal you are, the more people can start to kind of have access to their own specificity. So always write towards the things that consume you, that interest you.
Because was it a difficult thing to do? As you were saying at the beginning, that it was, of course, there's marketing and there's, of course, an expectation of you, of the way you write. How did you navigate through that?
Well, there's no expectation before you enter the publishing world. You know, there's no expectations when I was 19 and traveling to Ghana to write a book. Nobody knew I would actually be able to do it, and myself included. And so that's really freeing, you know, before anybody else steps in to say this is what you should do, or maybe try it like this. You get the freedom to do it as you see fit. And so, you know, just kind of to walk in that freedom for as long as possible, because as soon as you start to share your work, it kind of diminishes little by little. People kind of start to put their own voices or their ideas into it. Even those who have the best of intentions start to do that.
Could you give us an example of that?
Oh, I like people who said for this book, for example, that it should be twice as long, which is a simple
Why?
thing.
Because it's a saga.
Because it's a saga.
A saga has to be 600 pages.
Yeah, I just thought it should be longer, but because I had spent the time, I did probably four drafts on my own before I even showed it to anybody in publishing, any agents or editors. So because I had done that work on the back end to know that this book was what I wanted it to be, I knew when a piece of advice wasn't speaking for me, you know, wasn't for me, and so I could say, you know, you're writing a different, you're thinking about a different book, and that's not the book that I want to write. And that's a luxury, and I think it's a luxury that you have in those early years of writing that you don't always get in the later years.
So there's not going to be a Homecoming 2?
There's not.
Homegoing. It's not homecoming. Homegoing.
I'm so
You keep
Dutch.
saying that.
I'm so Dutch. Yesterday I was with a friend who was in New York for 4 months, and she literally, no one bats an eye. She said it in Dutch, but I got what she was saying. She's so like literally translating things.
Oh yeah.
From Dutch to English, or from English to Dutch.
It's called Dunglish, we call it.
Oh,
Yeah, English. So when I have the same with the title of your book, to be really honest.
Yeah, no worries.
But where do you see yourself in 10 years?
I mean, I hope to still be writing. That's really kind of my only goal for the next 10 years, is to still be working on fiction.
Because is it difficult for you not to be writing now?
Yeah, it is. I mean, I think for most of my life, writing was kind of the thing that I used to make sense of the world, create order in my day, in my life. And so I do feel kind of, you know, like I'm in a kind of weird liminal space. Like I can't really gather my thoughts when I'm not writing. So it does feel, it's a weird time.
So is it just because you don't have the time, or is your energy so invested in other things that you can't focus?
I think it's because my energy is so scattered. When I am home, and the way my traveling schedule kind of works now is I'll be gone for like 4 days, and then I'll be home for a week, and then I'll be gone for a week, and then I'll be home for 3 days.
Oh, you don't get to like just do the tour in one?
No.
Like one,
no.
and then say, okay,
if only.
It depends on the country you're in and what they want, how they want it. When the book is published, you can't time all of that.
Yeah.
I mean, they published it now in the Netherlands. It's really...
okay.
Yeah, but even in the States, and most of my traveling has been in the States. I had like a big tour in June when the book came out. But since then, it's just been kind of like here.
But you've also been nominated for the PN.
Yeah,
PEN Awards.
Yeah, I've been nominated for the PEN Awards.
I thought it was PN.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think congratulations. I'm not sure. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, that's pretty
When
exciting.
would you hear the?
I think they announce it in April or March.
Okay.
Yeah,
Fingers
so
crossed.
on the horizon. Thank you.
We could have had a pen. We could be the like Dipsos podcast who talk to a pen winning.
Yeah.
Out there.
Yes.
Do it for us, please. But talking about the writing and how you kind of has it always been like that, or was it because you started to study arts, or has it something that been from very young age? Like, yeah,
I think it started from a very young age for me. I didn't know writing was a career that you could have in the beginning.
Was it encouraged from?
No.
I was just going to say, because now like you become either a doctor or a pilot, or you marry a doctor or a pilot. Yeah. That was the immigrant.
But your father was a professor.
My father was a professor of French.
That's different. Being a professor of French is not the same as pursuing a career as a writer, as a novelist.
It's the different stability. It's the kind of the known path versus the unknown path. I think
it's like a daily job.
Yeah, a daily job.
And writing
with a salary. Not like your salary. How much you make is up in the air. You know, that kind of I think worried my parents. But I always knew that this was what I wanted to do. In some sense, whether I knew it was like the profession I wanted to have or just the thing that I was always doing on the side, this was kind of what I wanted to do with my life.
And are you the youngest, the oldest?
I'm the middle. I have two brothers.
Okay.
Two older because you're 5?
No.
Oh, the complete,
5 including my
I
parents.
was thinking 5. Family, because there's no one in the book that has like 3 kids. It's either 1 or 12.
You come from a big family, right?
Me?
Yeah.
4.
You're
like 4 children,
okay.
and then my parents.
Yeah.
And then sometimes a cat.
Okay. Yeah.
But my sister just had twins.
Oh wow.
And they're like, I think they just are a month old. Mm-hmm. And she was like, what should we call the 4th one? And
what?
Whoa.
She's already thinking about the 4th child.
Wow.
Yeah. As I was reading, I was thinking, what? Are you Anna?
Yeah.
So, yeah, she really is. And I'd like to have a big family.
Oh wow. No.
You will reconsider.
Why?
I used to want to have a big family, but I've reconsidered.
Yeah, I can't wait to have 5.
Wow. Yeah. No, I'm not in that category either.
I love it. Like I'm with kids and babysitting and all that. It's different. And being an aunt is different.
It's not the same.
Do you come from a big family?
No, it's just me and my brother. That's why.
Yeah.
But also that, and it's just I'm not one of. I used to really want a big family. I thought like it was easy, but once I have them, I'm like, I don't think I can do this again. I don't have the brain space to just deal with the whole thing again. No. Sure.
And with the job.
Yes.
I think that's...
And I do love what I'm doing, so I don't want to stop again and then continue. It's also my character, maybe. Who knows? I don't know.
Oh, okay. So what do your brothers do? Are they also...
My younger brother is still in college. He's 21. And then my older brother, he's in venture capital. Okay. So he's just very different business kind of person.
I have a sister like that.
Yeah.
We're all like, my oldest was kind of the activist, and I learned kind of activism from her. And then I have my brother who likes computers. My sister was into banking. And then there's me. I'm like in between. I work at schools. I've been in education, but at the same time, I love reading. I love shows and making them now. So it's really kind of all over the place.
Right.
Yeah, we have to start wrapping up the interview.
I'm going to ask her.
You have to ask her.
Okay, so...
She has to do this.
I have to do this. So me and Ebise, when our friends from abroad come, we always like to give them a nice experience, like on the back of a bike. So if you'd like that, we'd like to offer you...
you have to have a bike ride.
A proper bike.
Okay. So bad.
Sure, yeah.
So
if you want to sneak out at some point, just tell Nanda.
Like, what kind of music do you like?
What kind of music do I like? I mean, I listen to a lot of music, I guess. This year I was really into the Chance the Rapper album. So that was probably the thing I listened to most this year.
Because we usually take our friends to a...
There's this Afrobeats club in town.
Cool.
So if you want to sneak out tonight when you come back from the Hague, let us know.
I will.
We have bikes.
Yeah, it's not really that far. It's a really nice club.
Yeah,
Oh,
and on
great.
purpose we don't have 3 bikes but 2, so one has to be at the back. Because, or other,
That's like the Dutch, the Amsterdam experience.
Right,
Just
yeah.
sit at the back, hold on for dear life.
Right.
and then when you just go turn the left, just close your eyes, and it's either going to be okay or you're going to hit the floor.
Okay.
So that's I mean, I don't do that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you
so
so much for talking to
Of
us.
course. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And I hope that you have like a little time to breathe.
Yes, I do.
coming,
I got a little.
And maybe
bit of
scribble something on a little piece of paper.
If only. Yeah. We'll see.
And you're having your interview in The Hague with Fiep.
Phoebe.
She's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
She's great. So
Yeah.
it's going to be fun.
Great. Yeah.
All
I'm
right.
excited.
Thank you.